The developments are coming in fast and furious. I want to bring in Eric Ham to react. He is our CTV News political analyst. So let's begin, Eric, with this news. Again, reports coming in that she has chosen the governor, the 41st governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, to be her running mate. What does he bring to the table?
He brings so much to the table, especially when you look at him compared to J.D. Vance. He's got a decorated military service, much like J.D. Vance. However, where they do diverge is that what we know about Tim Walz is he served actually 12 years in Congress, actually defeating a Republican congressman to actually win that seat. In addition to that, serving as the governor of Minnesota, where again he defeated a Republican. And so I think what we're seeing here is his wealth of experience also as a teacher, I think goes a long, long way in solidifying his bona fides, particularly with Democratic voters, especially some of those far left progressives who we already know were already coming out against Josh Shapiro. So not only is this the very super safe pick for Kamala Harris, if in fact it is Tim Walz, it also says that she is actually listening to not only the Democratic leadership of the party, but also the rank and file as well.
Okay, so you mentioned that he was a teacher. A couple of other quick facts about him now that we're going to get to know him. If, in fact, these reports are true and Walz is her running mate, as you mentioned, he has a background in teaching. He coached football. He was a former U.S. Army officer. He has a progressive record. He has what I've read described as big dad energy. And he, as you were pointing out to us, Eric, this morning, could really appeal to those rural white voters that are really key for Kamala Harris in this election.
That's right. And Kamala Harris needed someone to balance the ticket regionally, given that she comes from San Francisco, and we already know that many of the Republicans have tried to paint her as this far left progressive. And also what he does is he's going to help her fortify that blue wall, those states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and of course, Pennsylvania. Now, he does not come from a key battleground state like Josh Shapiro with Pennsylvania, which is why many thought Shapiro would be the pick. But again, we began to see so much pushback on Shapiro. And I think what we're seeing here is Tim Walz is going to be someone, not only is he safe, but in the sense that everyone will get behind him in his place on the ticket. And also, too, we have seen him really go after Republicans in a way that not only I think shows that he's an excellent communicator, but also what he does is he speaks in a way that voters can just relate to. And that's what you want, someone that's relatable.
Well, he was the guy that started the whole weird phrase to describe Trump and Vance. And that, as you and I have discussed a couple of times, has really stuck. I do want to go back, though, because you mentioned what Josh Shapiro, I think a lot of observers were thinking it was him based on the math, that he could deliver Pennsylvania. So what do you make of that then? How do they get around that? I mean, is there enough of appeal, do you think, with Walz that he can overcome that? I mean, the key to the White House is through Michigan.
You're right. Pennsylvania is going to be so crucial in this election. But also what we have to remember is while there are those who thought that Shapiro would certainly deliver in Pennsylvania and could bring that, I don't think Tim Walz actually detracts from Kamala Harris being able to win Pennsylvania. If we look at the polls right now, what we are seeing is Kamala Harris's momentum is continuing to grow, and Pennsylvania is now in play. It's become far more competitive. So it's a state that's still in play. It's a state that they can still win. And it's a state that, more importantly, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are going to have to really, really work to win. And so I think this is not subtraction at all. It just means that what we're seeing here is Kamala Harris is listening to those, I think, not just around her, but also, more importantly, what the voters are actually saying in terms of who they want to see on the ticket.
Okay, Eric Ham for us. Eric, thanks so much for being with us this morning to discuss, again, these reports that Kamala Harris has chosen Tim Walz as her running mate. And if it is him, Eric, they have a busy couple of days, a busy few weeks as they plan on doing that 7-state rally blitz in 5 days.
Yeah, that's right. And we know that this is going to be the first time where we see them together. And also, what we have to watch for is what kind of bump the Harris Walz ticket will get if, in fact, it is Walz. We know that there's already momentum with the Harris campaign, but it is expected that when you pick your running mate, there should be an additional bump. And so now we're going to be watching for that. We've already seen the Trump campaign trying to blunt Harris's momentum. But I think with this super safe choice, I think Harris is even going to grow in her momentum for her campaign, particularly as she heads to the convention in Chicago in just a matter of weeks.
Eric, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.